Well, good afternoon, folks. My name is Kent Hovind. We're in Lenox, Alabama at Dinosaur Adventureland, and Luke and his mother are visiting here. Luke is 18 years old, wants to start a creation ministry called Tyrannosaurus Luke. I think that's great because of his short arms. What's the name of that syndrome that causes that?
TAR syndrome.
TAR syndrome. And hey, God, you take advantage of it. In 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3 and 4, it says, sometimes things happen to us so that we can minister to others to have the same problem. How many other people have this same syndrome that you know of?
Let's see, I've met 2, but other than that, there's not terribly many.
Mm-hmm.
There are some scattered across the U.S., but other than that, not many.
Well, you can reach them. How many of them are not saved? I don't know. But see, you are going to use Tyrannosaurus as your YouTube channel because he had the short arms too.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, Luke, you said you had some questions here for me. You're going to start a YouTube channel. What's the title going to be?
Well, I was thinking about Tyrannosaurus Luke, but I was also thinking about Through the Lens of Creation being kind of the channel name.
Okay.
And then my own personal name is Tyrannosaurus Luke.
Tyrannosaurus Luke. I love it. T-A-R.
Yep.
We'll put the link up on our channel. What I'd like is all my viewers to sign up for his channel and get him started. He's just a young fellow, 18 years old, trying to start a creation ministry. Help him out. You can support him, tell others about it, and join up. Okay, let's get some of your questions here, Luke. What do you got?
All right, so first question. What prompted you to start this ministry? Tell me how it came about.
Well, when I was 16, I gave my heart to the Lord, got saved, and started reading my Bible right away, and started realizing what I'm being taught in school is different from what I'm reading in this book. Somebody is wrong. And that began a lifelong study of mine 56 years ago on this topic of creation evolution. Fortunately, I came across some of the books by Henry Morris and Dwayne Gish and those guys, the early big-time creationists. They did an awesome job. But most of their stuff is written to try to reach, the college professors, and they use all the big $10 words. I said, we need somebody to make the creation ministry simple for fourth graders to get it. So I've tried very hard for the last 50-some years in my Christian life, 56 and 35 years traveling full-time as an evangelist, to teach the creation message and keep it simple where the kids can get it. And hope you do the same.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping to do. So what is one of the greatest miracles you have seen in your time of ministry?
I've seen God provide for us just at the right. Sometimes he waits till the last minute. I've seen him provide like somebody gave us this 140 acres. You guys take the tour around here. It's amazing. I moved up here almost 10 years ago now. It'll be April, it'll be 10 years with nothing but a motorhome somebody gave us and 140 acres and nothing. I had absolutely nothing when I came home from prison. So God just supplied miraculously. We now have 30-some cabins. We have a 12,000 square foot science center. I guess the whole thing's been a miracle from start to finish, the way God puts. I'd hate to play chess with God. He sees, he sees it all. So yeah, it's I couldn't name a greatest miracle, but I've loved every minute of it, almost every minute.
Yeah.
Being in the ministry. Sure. Guy called me a few minutes ago, said, Brother Hovind, your video changed my life, got saved. And I get this every day, I want to reach the world. I want you to help.
Yeah. Well, number 3, and more getting into the science part of stuff. How do you think plate tectonics have affected the Earth's geological formations?
I think plate tectonics is the study of the Earth is broken up into plates, okay, like an eggshell. I don't think there's any question there. Along the edges of those plates is where most of the earthquakes and volcanoes take place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the continents are moving around like they teach in the textbooks in South America and Africa used to fit. I think that's baloney. People say, do you think they're ever connected? They're still connected right now, underwater,
Mm-hmm.
So I think the plates are moving some. I think that's a result of when the fountains of the deep broke open in Noah's flood. And they're still moving a little bit, but the subduction, Walt Brown did a great video. He wrote the book, let's see, I got it right here. His book's getting hard to find. But In the Beginning by Walt Brown, excellent book. Do you have a copy of this?
Yeah, I actually have one, and actually my copy more looks like the one over there.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's fabulous on the idea of plate subduction. I think at the end of the flood, Psalm 104 says the mountains arose and the valleys sank down. That's a Hovind translation. The crust of the earth was flexing around during Noah's flood. Some places would lift up and be above water for a few weeks and then go back down and crack. I think people were fleeing and animals were fleeing, trying to find high ground. It probably took 6 or 7 or 8 months to kill everybody in that flood.
Yeah.
Noah's in the ark for over a year, So
Uh-huh.
we get the idea it rained, everybody died and get out. No. It was a year-long event. So I think there were plates floating up and down and log mats floating around that some animals could survive on for a while. So they'd be buried at different times depending on their intelligence. So I think I cover video number 6 of my creation seminar series. You can get that on drdino.com about the geology of the earth. As far as the geologic column and the layers being different ages, that is pure baloney. Every speck of dirt on the planet is the same age. They teach this stuff like it's some kind of fact, oh, wow, Cenozoic, Mesozoic, Paleozoic. It's all stupid. How can this dirt be younger than this dirt? Every speck of dirt in the world is the same age.
Yeah.
Whether 6,000 or 6 trillion, it's all the same age. There is no geologic column. This is one of the greatest hindrances to Christians understanding this flood. It says in 2 Peter 3, the scoffers at the end of time would be willingly ignorant of the creation and the flood.
Yeah.
And boy, they are. Okay?
Yeah. Well, you kind of
they're
explained
still
that
moving.
one. Do you think they're still
I think
moving?
the plates are moving a little bit. That's why we have earthquakes and volcanoes. Most of them are locked in. The place where the plates join is called a fault line. Sometimes there are stationary faults. They know it's cracked there, but it never moves. Other times it slides sideways, a slip fault. Other times it's a subduction zone. It can, slip up or down, and there's several different ways it can move. But I think it's all minor compared to what was happening during the flood.
Yeah.
Then it was really major, but it's pretty well locked in now.
Okay. Explain the canopy theory. Do you think it would be water or ice, and why?
Well, I've taught now for years that it says in Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, if you read those, that the birds fly in the firmament. Okay. And then it says there was water above the firmament. So I believe firmly there was a layer. The Jews have always taught it was a 2 or 3 finger thick layer of crystals, ice. I think it probably was. So you got this ice canopy above the atmosphere. Today, our atmosphere goes out about 50 miles. If you squeezed it down into 10 miles and put a crystal canopy over the top of it, and make a big greenhouse, okay? That would increase air pressure and explain why huge animals can fly. 50-foot pterodactyls, they couldn't fly today. The air's too thin, but they couldn't then. This was before the flood. When the fountains of the deep broke open, it shot rocks up and shattered the canopy. And super cold ice is magnetic. So it would be sucked in and dumped on the North and South Pole, have an instant ice age. I believe the evidence would indicate that the ice age started at the beginning of the flood. And at the end of the flood, when Noah got off the boat with all the animals, the ice caps were still huge, clear down to southern Illinois. Well, if the ice caps are bigger, that means the continents are bigger because the oceans are smaller because all the water's frozen at the North Pole. It will take 500 years for that to melt back. And so when Noah gets off the ark, the continents are huge, much bigger. The continental shelf would be exposed, and you could walk anywhere in the world. You could walk to Australia. It's all connected. So I think the crystal canopy is a key to several things. Understanding how the animals dispersed after the flood and how the earth was totally changed because of that flood. But those huge ice caps would take, like I said, hundreds of years to melt back. And why else would we have a continental shelf? You got to walk out 100 miles and then all of a sudden it drops off to the deep part.
Yeah.
All around all the continents. I show pictures of all this in video number 6 about the continental shelf. And if you lowered the ocean just 200 feet, England would be part of France, making the British very upset. They don't want to be part of France. So
No,
I
they do not.
Yeah. I think the ice canopy also is the best explanation for why we find dinosaurs that are 80 foot long, but have small lungs and small nostrils. An 80-foot apatosaurus had nostrils the same size as a horse. How's he going to get enough air? How can he breathe? Today, he couldn't. Back then, they could. So we don't have 80-footers still walking around.
Yeah.
Now, we think we still got some 20-footers walking around in the Congo swamp, and cover that on video number 3. So, yeah, I think the ice canopy, and some creationists do not believe in that. I think they're making a serious mistake. Another major thing that ice canopy would do, the Jews have taught it was 2 or 3 fingers thick. How they know that, I have no idea. Maybe God told Adam and he passed it on, who knows. But anyway, a few inches of ice 10 miles above the atmosphere, 10 miles above the surface of the earth, right above our atmosphere, would collect it like a greenhouse, and it would block UV light. Ultraviolet light is what creates carbon-14.
Yeah.
Well, so during the pre-flood world, when the people lived to be 900, there you go. If you look at the dates in the Bible, before the flood came, they're living to be 900 years old.
Uh-huh.
And animals were huge. All kinds of animals have been found that huge compared to today's animals, like a 550-pound duck.
Yeah.
Where's one of those today? So that the animals living during that time would have almost no carbon-14 in their body because there was almost none in the atmosphere. See, the plants are breathing in the atmosphere. Some of it's radioactive carbon, not very much, very tiny amount.
Yeah.
But back before the flood, it was even less than that. So we're digging them up and we're dating them by today's standard, going to get a wildly old number because they didn't have that. Before that canopy collapsed, they were probably living in a world with almost no C14.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to us, it's going to look like, whoa, they've been through 10 half-lives. You know, they're 80,000 years old. And that's the problem. It's stupid. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sorry for taking so long on that one question.
No.
I think it was ice to answer your question. Okay.
Okay. How would this canopy be held or suspended over the Earth?
I think the magnetic field is one thing because super cold ice is magnetic. So the Earth's magnetic field could have levitated it, like, you know, you've seen magnets floating on top of each other, but also just by simple air pressure. They have huge inflatable buildings. They have soccer games in there. You know, they just blow up the big bag. And what holds the roof up? The air.
Yeah.
If the air pressure was double inside this crystal canopy, that would help support it. And the magnetic field. Those are the two main factors, I think. A centrifugal force, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'll find out when I get to heaven.
What prevents it from throwing the Earth off its axis?
Well, the canopy would be just like now. There's layers in our atmosphere. We have the stratosphere, troposphere, exosphere, ionosphere. These layers just travel with the Earth while we spin around. And so the canopy would do the same. You just spin with the Earth. You it wouldn't be moving at all compared to the Earth. It'd always be right above it'd be stationary. The whole thing would turn together. Like
at the exact same rate.
Right now, we're in Lenox, Alabama. We're 31 degrees north of the equator. We're turning almost 900 miles an hour right here, right now. We don't feel a thing. The air's going with us. Now, if the Earth stopped, the air would, I would think, keep going, you know, pretty fast. Hurricane everywhere. Unless, you know, God stopped the air too. Or the tides would wash up on the beach pretty fast too.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Give me a few of your absolute favorite examples of fossils that completely obliterate the theory of evolution in millions of years.
There are fossils found all over the world that would just destroy the evolution theory. First place, no fossils count as evidence of a missing link. All you know is when you find fossils in the ground, like this petrified clam, all you really know is it died. I cannot prove it had any children. Can I?
No.
I can't prove it had children that were different or even children that lived. So fossils in general are a lousy tool for evolutionists to use. They should say, look, we got to stop doing this, okay? When you find fossils, here's a crinoid. I got all kinds of fossils here. Fossil trilobite. In our museum, we have thousands of them. I think that they find fossilized, did you see in the museum the fossilized pickle in our jar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fossilized hammers, fossilized cowboy leg stuck in his boot. And
I saw that.
So I think most of the fossils probably formed during the flood, because of the flood, being buried in mud. To get a fossil, it has to be buried quickly and preserved in mud and under some pressure, either the weight of the mud over the top or something. And so that would cause the minerals to soak into the cells as they decay. Any fossil would be a good evidence for creation and the flood of Noah. That's a conglomerate rock. Never mind. Okay. Yeah. So I think I hope you start with your museum, Luke, a fossil collection that you can show, is to show that fossils, they teach about death. It ought to make everybody stop and think, I'm going to die. Am I going to heaven? Get ready. You better pack a lunch. You're going to be gone for a long time. Make sure you're going to the right spot.
Yeah. How do we explain the discovery of soft tissue and proteins in dinosaur bones? Hundreds
of these have now been found. Dinosaur bones and other animals, fossilized, partially fossilized, and still have soft tissue, red blood cells, etc. To the Christian, that's not a problem at all. The flood was 4,400 years ago, 4,500 years ago, and to find soft tissue is reasonable. To the atheist who says they're millions of billions of years old, that's stupid. They have to dance around it every time. They don't. It wouldn't matter how many you found. I tell people, if you found a living dinosaur, brought it back, put it in the Brooklyn Zoo, charge $20 to come see it, they would put a sign under it that says, wow, this one survived for 70 million years. It will never enter their brain to challenge their theory. Maybe it's not 70 million years old. Wouldn't matter. If you had a whole herd of them in a museum, in a zoo where they could come pet them, they would still claim the billions of years. And they want so badly for God's word to not be true because it chaps their hide.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11.
What is the fastest forming fossil that you are aware of?
There's John Adolphi just died last Saturday up in New York, Lost World Museum, but he has great stuff on there. You can make a fossil under pressure in 24 hours, one day.
Wow.
They got a machine, they clamp it down real tight, pack it in clay and pack it down real tight, and one day it turns to stone. There's a place in the Czech Republic where there's a waterfall, comes over a little cliff, splashes into a puddle, and falls maybe 15, 20 feet, splashes all over the place. You can put anything you want around there, and within a few weeks, it'll be completely turned to stone, or covered in stone, permineralized. So go to Lost World Museum. Pray for Mrs. Adolphi. He just died last Saturday. But I'm trying to talk them into coming down here and bring their museum here at Dinosaur Adventureland. So got to put all that cool stuff up somewhere. We'll put it up. Still be hers, but join in. So, yeah, I think...
one thing that I did see over in your little museum area is a fossilized teddy bear. That was interesting to see.
Fossilized rose.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
All right. What's the best example you can give us of a living fossil?
I think many thousands of animals that have been found in the fossil record are still alive today. They find fossil dragonflies that look just like today, only they're much bigger. Fossil grasshoppers, 2 feet long. Many examples can be given of animals that are still alive today that we also see that they didn't change at all.
Yeah.
We've got now in our Dinosaur Adventureland down here, the world's largest horseshoe crab model. The guy in Ohio gave it to us. It's 67 feet long. When you look at the horseshoe crabs and the fossils, they're identical to the ones alive today. Only sometimes bigger.
Yeah.
Fossil ducks have been found, 550-pound ducks. There's no 550-pound ducks. Yeah. So lots of things are found in fossil beavers, 8 feet long. Today, beavers get about 3 feet long. So I think everything was different before the flood. They lived longer. So I think you could probably find hundreds of living animals that have fossils that are identical to the one today, only maybe bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell us what Mount St. Helen teaches us about a young Earth.
My sister lives out near Mount St. Helens. I went out there shortly after it erupted. When the volcano blew up, it kind of blew off the side instead of blowing up. So the whole side slid down and blocked off a creek, made a big lake. Eventually, the lake got too full. I forget how much. I covered that on video number 6. But when the lake got too full, it went over the top and washed out a canyon in minutes. Okay, the sides of the canyon are all stratified, just like Grand Canyon. As the mud as ash and stuff was sliding down in, moving material automatically separates into layers. I'll show you. If I flip this sideways or some other direction, it will make multiple layers in a matter of minutes. I've got a couple of these on my desk here. There. This one's a little more colorful. Just by flipping this over, there's 20 layers in there right now.
Yeah.
Are the layers different ages? They're all the same age. They're all in here at the same time. So Mount St. Helens, when the north slope slid down, it automatically stratified into hundreds of layers while it's sliding.
Yeah.
And then, of course, to the evolutionist, wow, each one's a different age. No, they're not. They're all the same age. But the geologic column is the Bible for the atheists. They won't give it up. Believe me, they got to hang on to that. They'll defend it, even if they have to lie to defend it.
Yeah. How long did it take for a petrified forest to form at the site of Mount St. Helens?
I don't know how long it took. A lot of people have studied that. Steve Austin did a lot of work on that. He works at ICR.org. He's written many books on Mount St. Helens. I really highly recommend you get that. That's Institute for Creation Research in Dallas. They make trips up there and check on things happening. When the volcano blew, it ripped off tens of thousands of trees. There was a huge log mat float. It still is floating. What is it? 1980, so 45 years ago. it blew all these logs in there, and many of them began floating in the upright position because the root end is heavier. And they slowly go down and sink to the bottom. And many are already petrified standing up at the bottom of the lake. Of course, they're going to say it took millions of years. No, it didn't. It took 45 years. But see, it wouldn't matter. You could bring the atheists out, rub their nose in the fact, and they don't want to see it.
Yeah. What do you know about how Mount St. Helens affected the animal populations?
I guess I haven't studied that much. I know it killed a lot of animals, that's for sure. A volcano blows up, it killed a lot of trees. And that'd be a good question for Steve Austin or one of those guys at ICR.org. Maybe you ought to go up there and take some pictures of yourself, study it, and you can become the world's expert on it. But a lot of people have done research on Mount St. Helens and the effect that it had on showing how stratification takes place rapidly, wiping out a whole forest takes place rapidly, and the trees appears trees standing up, floating around. There are still thousands of them floating on Spirit Lake right now. 45 years later, they're still. Google it, Joseph. Google. Recent picture of Mount St. Helens. How many trees are still floating in that Spirit Lake? Are trees still floating in Spirit Lake? Be a good question to ask. I'd say, yeah. When I was up there, gee whiz, it was everywhere, acres, hundreds of acres of trees floating around. The wind would blow them back and forth across the lake, and as they roll against each other, they roll the bark off and the small branches, and they leave a debris trail that eventually would turn to coal. During Noah's flood, you get these debris trails worldwide, and then they get covered by more sediment, and the coal layers. Coal is almost always found in seams. That all came because of Noah's flood. You say anything, Joseph?
Yep, trees are still floating in Spirit Lake in 2025. The eruption was in 1980. Despite decades passing, the lake remains filled with thousands of dead trees, many of which float upright with their root ends submerged.
There you go. Just Google. What did you put in for a Google search?
Are trees still floating in Spirit
Are trees
Lake
still floating in
2025?
Spirit Lake? Yep. So I think it's great. I think a Christian should take advantage of stuff like that, because the Bible says the scoffers at the end of time would be willingly ignorant. 2 Peter 3. That means they're dumb on purpose. They want to be stupid, okay? They're willingly ignorant about the creation and the flood. And creationists like you, if you're starting a ministry, you better really study what was the original creation like? And what did the flood do? That's why I think I'm disappointed that some of the Christian creationists do not believe there was a canopy overhead. The Bible says there was water above the firmament. I mean, you can't argue with that. So what was it? I think it was ice, 2 or 3 fingers thick, and that explains so many things. That explains the greater air pressure. That explains the lack of C14. You know, carbon dating wouldn't work on anything then. Explains it. But then that flood explains all the geology we see, is nearly all of it. The rapid erosion, Grand Canyon probably formed in a week, you know, at the end of, probably 50 years after Noah's flood.
Yeah.
The lake filled up. I showed you that demonstration. Go over the top, wash out Grand Canyon in a week.
Yeah.
Not millions of years.
So one more question, I suppose, since we're going back to the water canopy. How would it affect sunlight coming in the water canopy?
Well, if it was 2 or 3 inches or fingers thick, a couple inches of ice, and it was super cold. See, outer space is 450 below zero. Real chilly. If it was crystal clear ice, you could actually see the stars better because the air would be compressed. Now, when we look at things, you know, when the sun goes down in the evening, you see it turns orange. That's because that sunlight is coming through all the air around the world, and that at an angle, straight up and down, it might be 50 miles of air, but at an angle, it might be 400 miles of air. So now that air acts like a big prism, and it breaks the sunlight up into the rainbow colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And so that's why we see it turn orange before it goes down quite often. The starlight coming through compressed air would be much clearer. Adam could see the stars better than we can, living under that canopy. So I think it would increase air pressure. Breathing would be much easier. You could run for hundreds of miles without getting tired. Yeah. So develop your ministry. What are you going to call the name of it again?
I think I'm going to call the actual channel Through the Lens of Creation. And then I'll call myself Tyrannosaurus Luke.
Okay. Well, any questions? You contact us, Joseph. Okay, I have updates on that.
Yeah.
And you're 18 years old and you want to get started doing a creation ministry, and you're going to be dress up like a T-Rex. You got perfect physique for it. Okay. So if you want to help him, sign up for his channel, spread it around, tell everybody, hey, Luke's getting started. Help this young man. Now, where's home for you guys? Where do you live?
Castle Rock, Colorado.
Castle Rock, Colorado.
It's in between Denver and Colorado Springs.
Yep.
About halfway in the middle.
Beautiful Castle Rock there too.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to go to Colorado Springs all the time. My aunt and uncle lived out there. Okay. Any other questions, Luke?
No, I don't think so.
All right, I got to give another tour. Y'all come down and see Dinosaur Adventureland. It's free. What else you want? You want us to pay you to come? No. Come and we'll feed you and house you and everything's free. Come on down. Thank you. Bye.